All right, let's dive in. In the absolute frenzy that is the AI gold rush, there's a huge new platform war brewing under the surface. So today, we're going to unpack a super practical framework to help you figure out which of these AI agent companies are actually built to last, and which ones, well, are just features waiting to get swallowed up by the giants.
And this quote, this really just says it all, doesn't it? The entire game has changed. It is no longer about who has the flashiest demo. It's all about structural resilience. It's about how you survive when these massive platforms start moving in on your turf.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at this new platform war. Then, we'll get into the 3 tiers of AI agents. After that, we'll cover the 5 big drivers of disruption. We'll put it all together to calculate a disruption score. And finally, ask the big question, are these companies built to last, or are they destined to disappear?
Okay, first things first, we have to understand the central conflict that is shaping literally everything in the AI space right now.
The best way to think about it is this. You've got your operating system players, right? These are the giants, the big foundational model providers like OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic. And then you've got the app players, all the startups building cool, specialized agents on top of those platforms. The problem? The OS players aren't happy just being the platform anymore. And look, this isn't some hypothetical, far-off threat. It is happening right now. These OS players are actively climbing up the stack. They're building their own agentic apps, basically designed to soak up the most common use cases and compete directly with the very startups that pay to use their models. So that brings us to the first part of this framework, really understanding the depth of the AI agent you're looking at. Where does its value actually come from? So we can break down these agents into 3 basic tiers, based on the kind of human expertise they're replacing. And you can see it right away. The risk of getting steamrolled by a platform player just plummets as you move up from a simple script follower to a really sophisticated thinker. Let's make this real with some analogies. A level 1 agent, that's kind of like a customer support rep just following a script. Super repetitive stuff. A level 2 agent is more like a loan processor. It owns an entire business workflow from start to finish. But a level 3 agent, now we're talking. That's like a business analyst, making complex judgment calls on messy, unpredictable data. The real defensibility, the real moat, it starts at level 2. But, and this is a huge but, even if you have a powerful, genius-level level 3 agent, it can still be super vulnerable if the business model around it is weak. The tech alone is not the whole story, not even close. Which brings us to the second layer of this framework. This is where we go beyond the tech and start to measure the company's actual business moat. How resilient is it really?
Okay, so these 5 drivers force us to ask some really tough questions. Are you just automating a single task or a whole workflow? Are you generic, or are you deeply specialized for a complex industry like, say, biotech or finance? How deep are your hooks into your customers' data? Is it going to be a massive pain for them to rip you out? And maybe the biggest one, are you just building something that OpenAI is going to give away for free next year?
All right, now for the really cool part. Let's combine that agent tier with these 5 disruption drivers. This is how we get a clear, actionable score. This is where the rubber meets the road. By looking at a company's technical depth and its business moat, we can come up with a simple score that gives us a pretty good idea of its risk of being disrupted in the next, say, 24 months.
And here it is, the disruption rating. It's a simple 4-point scale. If you get a 1, you're a fortress. You've got a deep workflow, a complex vertical. It would be incredibly hard for anyone to displace you. But a 4? Oof, that means you're likely a pretty basic agent with no real moat. You're a feature, and you're just waiting for OpenAI or Google to build you themselves.
So when you step back, you realize this framework is way more than just a scorecard. It's really about a fundamental shift in mindset for anyone building, investing in, or even buying AI tools today. The whole point of this is to cut through all the noise and the hype. It forces us to stop getting wowed by slick demos and to start asking those much harder questions about where real, defensible, long-term value is being created. And critically, whether that value can actually stand up to the pressure from these giant platforms. And really, that's the one question I want to leave you with. When you apply this way of thinking to the AI tools you're using, or the companies you're watching, or maybe even the company you work for, what do you see?
Do you see a feature, kind of vulnerable and exposed? Or do you see a fortress, truly built to last?